this podcast was recorded on Wednesday, and he sucks so bad.
I mean, the guy held his feet to the fire and just asked him some tough, hard-hitting questions. And like this one, where he gave him a chance to tell this really interesting story about him and trains.
Mm-hmm.
I got to know all the conductors so well that I became friends. And one day, as vice president, I was going home on the train, which the Secret Service doesn't like because there's so many opportunities to interrupt the train. And this particular, I'm not going to embarrass him and say his name, company, grabbed me and she goes, "Joey, baby." And I thought they're going to shoot him. Anyway, I said, no, he's right. He said, "I just read in the paper, you traveled 1,000,000.
Pause it for a sec. Okay. He's telling the story.
Yeah.
Like it's the first time ever.
Yep.
Again.
Yep.
How are you not embarrassed by that? How do you not at least preface this thing? I've told this story in the past, but here's a new twist on it. Blah, blah, blah. But no.
He can't.
It's the same BS every time, and he acts like he's never told it before.
We have people in all of our families who do this. They tell the same war stories.
Right.
Or they tell the same stories over and over again. Nobody, I contend nobody's relative listening to their show right now has come close to the repetition of a guy? Joe Biden.
No way.
And by the way, even the Associated Press has fact-checked this train tale and blown it up.
In advance, we can say it's a complete lie.
Complete lie.
Ange, the conductor, retired in 1993. 1993. He died in either 14 or 16, 2014, I think it was. So he was long gone by this time. I think he died in 2014, and they determined that Biden didn't hit the 1,000,000-mile train mark until 2016.
I think even later than that.
Yeah, it might have been even later. Yeah. So this is all completely bogus, all made up. This didn't happen, and yet he kept going.
You traveled 1,100,000 miles on Air Force planes. You got to list how many miles you travel on. And he said, "Big deal." He said, "Joey, we had a retirement dinner." He said, "You know what? You figured out. You know how many miles you travel on Amtrak?" I said, "No." He said, 1,200,000 miles, 119 days a year, 300 days, 300 miles round trip, 36 years plus 5. I'm going, oh God. My point was I was on a train a lot.
And then, boy,
my gosh,
that zinger at the end made it all worth it.
Okay, you rode the train a lot. Why don't you just say that from now on and shut up about the rest of it, which is a lie and not even interesting. It's not even an interesting story. I don't care if you traveled 8 million, 80 million, 100 million miles on a train. Who cares? Who cares? I think his point is he's so blue collar. He's so down to earth. He's so middle America that he travels the train. Do you know how much it costs to ride the Amtrak every day? I mean, most human beings could not afford that. You couldn't ride Amtrak.
I bet the American taxpayer can afford it.
Yes, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
I'm sure we did. We can't afford it because he bankrupted us, but they kept doing it anyway.
Yeah, and the AP fact check that I saw on this also covered. You heard him slip in the miles on the plane.
Yeah,
that was a lie according to AP.
What was Xi Jinping? That one?
No. This is he had just slipped in how many miles. I don't know. This AP fact check covered every aspect. Travel associated
Which is
lie
weird.
by Joe Biden. Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
It's from a couple years ago, actually. I found. Yeah. But, I mean, it covered, like, when he talks about his mom, when his mom died. I don't know. Somebody had an interesting day of journalism at the AP.
And was it all lie?
Yeah.
It was all
everything that he ever tells associated with transportation, according to the AP, was a lie.
My gosh.
It just never ends with this guy.
Good golly. That's amazing. That's amazing. All right, so we have a news story, though.
I have never heard this one.
Okay. About cufflinks?
Yeah.
Check this out. See if you've heard
I went to a Catholic grade school. We didn't often get invited to the cotillion, which was in the local school down the street, Mount Pleasant School. And so I got invited, and I was going to go. I was all excited about going. I think it was 9th grade, maybe it was 8th grade. I got a little dance. And there was a guy who was a good athlete. I was a relatively good athlete. He was a good athlete from the other school. Big guy.
Pause it. I would be, if we were doing the game, what, tired story is he about to tell? I would go the football direction at this point, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'd go, okay,
sure would.
He's going to tell us that he was a terrific wide receiver and he was going to go to Navy, but then Roger Staubach went to Navy, which I don't know how that would preclude him from going, but he wound up at Delaware and then didn't play football, actually. So I don't know. Anyway, that's not where it goes.
Became friends, but so I'm getting dressed and I didn't have a shirt to wear. So my mother got my uncle's shirt, who was a smaller man than my dad, and French cuffs and rolled up the cuffs who looked like it fit. And we couldn't find my dad's cufflinks. So my mom went and got a nut and a bolt. I wonder why she was downstairs in the laundry room looking for it.
That's how poor they were.
I said, Mom, I can't do this.
Right.
They'll make fun of me. I'll be embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
Said, anybody comes up and says anything to you, you look at them and say, and here's what she told me to say. This guy, Frank, came up to me and said, hey, look at Biden. Look what he's got here. Hey. And I looked at him and said, you don't have a pair of these?
What a funny story. And just so down to earth and so charming.
Mr.
Golly.
Folksy there. You don't have a pair of these? The man.
Agonizing. It's
when
agonizing.
Speaks. Yeah.
How did Joe's family members pass messages along to him? Check this out.
Oh.
My family, when they want to get an important message to me, they tape it on the mirror of the bathroom. I'm serious, not a joke.
So you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, no, it's on
I'm
the mirror.
joking.
I guess I was down early on. It's not going to be 10 years ago. I was down or something.
Yeah.
And my daughter Ashley she's a social worker, taped on my mirror. Happiness is something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to.
No more showers.
Dad, you have all those things.
Well, he's really into this podcast, the host there. Did the Post-it note from Ashley say, no more showers? Is that not what it said?
At least.
With me, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So I would love to know what some of those notes say that they leave on the bathroom mirror for Joe. Like, don't forget to wipe. I mean, seriously, like, what?
That's great.
What do you think that they? What do you think the notes say, Pat? What would you guess?
I'm going to leave it at don't forget to wipe.
Don't forget to wipe.
That's where I'm
Did you
leaving
wipe?
it.
And then it's got to have a smiley face with it. Okay. By the way,
with toilet paper, please.
With toilet paper this
don't
time.
Use your hand again.
Takes days to get that stench out of your hand. Okay, so hold on. I was looking up the AP fact check thing here.
Yeah.
On Ange. Mm-hmm. So he referenced the thing where he goes, oh, so you flew 1.2 million miles on Air Force Two. Big deal. You've done this on the Amtrak train. Yeah. When Joe actually would have crossed that threshold, it was long after Ange had passed away.
Right.
Thank you, Associated Press, for actually cross-checking something this old man says.
I mean, it's amazing.
It truly is.
You've got the Washington Post, who's been doing that quite a bit lately. You got AP fact-checking him.
Paved the way for Gavin.
Yeah, probably. And I think they're starting to realize this guy's not capable of doing what he's supposed to be doing here. He just isn't competent. He's diminished cognitively, and there's no getting around it anymore. And maybe they're embarrassed like we are, especially when this guy's with world leaders. Jeez, the thing he did with the Italian prime minister the other day was, that was agonizing. It was so awkward and embarrassing. Yeah. So anyway, he also, I guess, talks about his message to his grandkids here.
This is where, if you recall early on, I said, remember, this was recorded on Wednesday, July 26th.
Okay.
And I will tell you my theory after we watch this clip here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's look, I just think being there is important, and it makes such a difference, I think, knowing that someone's going to be there for you, just to listen, just to hold you, just to hug you.
Okay. Interesting.
Did he say in that clip? Oh, there is a clip where he says he has 7 grandkids. Was it not that one? No. He didn't say it in that one? No. Oh, crap. Okay. So he says in the interview, I have 7 grandkids.
He's been forced into that.
Okay.
He's been forced into
it. Go with me here. Mm-hmm. I think that he knows he has 7 grandkids, never means to publicly admit it, but he did slip that number out during this interview on Wednesday. Oh. So then that's when the White House said, oh, crap.
Oh, yeah, we better acknowledge. Crap. You're going to have to put out a statement.
And that's when they did at 5 o'clock on Friday night with the Friday weekend news drop.
Yes.
All because he slipped up. Shoot, I meant to send in the video clip of him saying, I've got 7 grandkids and, you got to love them and touch them and sniff them and whatnot. But anyway, I think that I don't think they ever intended of admitting publicly he has a 7th grandkid. Mm-hmm. He just misspoke because he's worse than me with numbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what forced their hand with the Friday press release because they had this in the can.
The next thing we should force him to do is to have her fly out to Washington, D.C. and actually meet her face to face. How about that? How about flying her and her mom out to D.C. or you go to Arkansas and you actually see this grandchild who's, your grandchildren are so important to you. You never miss a phone call from them.